Hey, what's going on, everyone? Just wanted to make this video because it's been a while since I've actually done any videos in reference to logistics or trucking or really anything at all. Just wanted to say thank you very much for reaching out and by emails and also people that get me on LinkedIn or wherever they get a chance to discuss things business wise, logistics wise with me. And just wanted to say, I'm alive and things are fine, but just wanted to give a little rundown of what's been going on in the industry as a whole. So, kind of been having my head just down and focusing on work, trying to find and work with shippers that are willing to take a chance to build a relationship. And it seems that, in all honesty, it's a crazy market right now. We're dealing with a lot of things. One of the main things we're dealing with, of course, that's already evident is for this year will be the tariffs in reference to the United States, and unfortunately, this does affect the Canadian market as well, and in a negative light because, of course, America is definitely a trading partner of Canada, so a very large trading partner of Canada. So it's a bit of a I think it's the not knowing part. Tariffs are one thing. Yes, they affect what's going to happen, and I'm sure there's going to be Americans that say, this is good for the American economy and all the different pros and cons of tariffs in general. But um, what the biggest problem is for at least us in Canada primarily is the not knowing part. It's kind of like for this year, it's been since April 2nd, it's kind of been like, okay, tariffs start. Well, you know what? We're actually going to pause them until May. And then May comes around, and well, you know what? We're actually going to pause them till June. And June rolls around, and so on and so forth. And now we're in August, and it's kind of like, okay, no deal. So now they're talking about maybe there's going to be a deal in September. We don't know. I mean, we don't know. So the not knowing part is the hardest part for trucking companies and respectively brokerages and respectively shippers as well, because they don't know when to pull the trigger on whatever projects they have planned, whatever they have or want to have going on. So the fact that there's outside parties outside of the actual industry itself that are influencing this, that is the governments of both countries. That also adds to delays, uncertainty. I know we all hate those terms by now, but the not knowing part for the tariffs is one thing that's really rough right now. Another thing that I've noticed through my sales journey for 2025 thus far, and you know, I was right in the sense that I don't see us coming out of this till 2027 as the earliest. Personally, that's my opinion. Again, we're in August. It's still holding to be true that we're still kind of stuck in this rut, if you want to call it that. We don't know where this will turn, if it will turn for even worse than it already is, or if we're actually going to see the light at the end of the tunnel for the trucking and logistics industry. But it's we're more than halfway through the year, and it's a rough one right now for all of us. So in sales, what I've seen a lot is no, thank you. Check back with us in 6 months. No, thank you. We have our own fleet, even though they don't. No, thank you. We currently are in contract until 2028, even though they aren't. Because I see their loads posted from other brokers on platforms and whatever else, right? And then others will say we only work with asset based carriers. So we are asset based. So we tell them we have whatever, 35 trucks, 45 trucks, whatever the number is, and we have a certain amount of drivers, right? 40 drivers, 50 drivers, whatever. This is just as an example. And they say, well, actually, they don't say anything. It's completely just in the dark. Like again, not knowing. the not knowing part is the worst part in sales and in life, really. The not knowing part is what keeps you on your toes, thinking like, and then you do the ask, and can I get a follow up? Just checking in, just following up, just doing this and that, bringing in donuts, whatever the case may be. Silence, right? So that's what I've seen this year thus far. Another thing that I've seen, and I'll give an example, I gave a customer a price for a round trip rate, $900, only for them to reject it, only to tell me that I was double the price of what they're currently running it at, only to see that same load from the same shipper pop up from their current incumbent broker slash also asset based carrier, uh, for an additional $200. So, and a lot of talk that I've had with a lot of different people in the industry, from shippers and carriers and friends in the industry, is there's a lot of under the table stuff that we don't know about. So that's what makes it really hard to approach this in an ethical way. Again, it's not hard to approach it in an ethical way. It's just stagnated or difficult growth. Um, Dealing with this kind of under the table stuff, that there's obviously some side deals that are going on that are affecting our ability as ethical salespeople to get in the door, even get one finger in the crack of a door, respectively. It's been a journey in 2025. Um, Even to the point of triple guessing if the approach for a certain shipper would work, or if we have to change it up several times. And I've noticed that several times we have had to adjust the approach, or I have had to adjust even my own approach speaking with shippers, and likewise request or at least advise or tutor or mentor different approaches to our sales agents respectively as well, to see if that will be of use or of assistance. So that's kind of been my 2025. We are all in the same boat, carriers and brokers. I understand that the two don't see alike, but we are in the same boat. We are traveling the same route. It's just a matter of finding common ground between both parties. And I'll give an example. Again, there was a carrier that did a specialized load for us. It's still specialized, regardless that it's not a mega machine or equipment that's moved. But regardless, the machine was roughly about 60,000 pounds that we moved. There were some customs clearance issues in terms of the paperwork not being ready on time. There was some delays at the border. There was also delays getting the equipment ready for shipping because it wouldn't start. So this was supposed to be a self-propelled equipment, machinery. It needed a boost essentially to get it running and going, so we can actually load it properly onto a removable gooseneck trailer, or for those of you that have been in the industry a while, an RGN. And anyways, long story short, it all got loaded. It delivered much later than we would have liked to. Was supposed to pick up on a Wednesday, deliver on a Thursday. It picked up, eventually loaded on a Thursday, and delivered on a Monday. Um, Regardless, pricing was something like on the waiting charges, for the carrier, roughly $3,000. We thought that was fair. The carrier came back to us and says they're requesting an additional $2,500 for fuel for roughly about 300 miles, going from where they would drop the trailer in a secure yard to where they would go home to where they would come back to pick up. Um, these kind of things, right? These disconnects between brokers and carriers, right? Where you're literally telling the carrier, this is where we would be able to pay you for your time for this piece of equipment. And we're not talking multi-axle configured RGNs or trailers of any sorts. We're talking about just a tri-axle, tridem, if you want to call it, RGN. So I understand it. Equipment is being tied up, but we're offering an additional 3,000 to you plus your rate Plus, you get to go home with your family for the weekend, and also you can deliver on a Monday. You don't have to go and deliver it on a Sunday, as an example. So these disconnects, right? That's just one example for one load where there's these just not being able to communicate properly because all sides have their own pricing scheme, and but luckily we got it figured out. It took some negotiating back and forth. The main reason why I thought negotiations needed on this was there's going to be a lot more shipments coming from this customer. It's a brand new customer that's trusting us with very expensive equipment and very expensive loads to be able to entrust us with that. And we decided to trust a specific carrier to run that, only to be asked for an additional thousands of dollars for detention and waiting charges, even though we already are giving thousands of dollars of detention charges to make sure that they are fairly, the keyword is fairly compensated for their time and efforts in running this, right? So we're not talking about a mega corporation company that can charge you $2,000 a day for their equipment. We're talking about an owner operator situation, right? So yeah, there's a lot of things that are going on in the industry right now. I'm sure you guys have heard about the whole DAT and convoy thing. Not to get too deep into it, but I personally think that's another layer of additional issues that we will see moving forward. Is this big fish buy smaller fish and then raise the prices for their services, and also plummet the offered prices to the carriers respectively, and that's going to hurt the industry in the long run. I don't think that the convoy purchase by DAT is a good thing for the trucking company. Of course, it's a great thing for DAT stakeholders. I'm sure they'll find a way to spin it and show value and make sure that they're bringing in the bucks for their vendors, their carriers, brokers, that is, and respectively shippers. It's going towards not a full monopoly, but definitely they will be taking a large chunk of the pie because they've been collecting data for years. And I've been saying this for years, that there's a reason they're collecting this data. And much like that, to that point on data, Highway is another example. That's a company that's doing the carrier vetting procedures, insurance procedures, in terms of the vetting, making sure that the carrier is legit. The concept is excellent in that regard. It's great that there is a tool like that available. However, to the extent that Highway takes it, don't believe it's warranted. And I've been saying now for months that there is a reason that the data is being collected, and it's going to be for what they're planning next, and that's their own internal load board, which will definitely plummet the prices again for carriers. In my own respectful opinion, it doesn't mean I'm going to be correct. I hope I'm not correct. I hope it's a wonderful thing for the industry, but seeing who's running that company and how it's being run, I don't believe that it will be a good thing for the industry, and I hope they prove me wrong. Definitely, because we need prices to be elevated for the actual assets that run them, rather than just a rat race to the complete bottom, deepest depths of the ocean in terms of pricing and rates. So, this is just a quick update on what's going on in the industry. I'm hoping to do more of these videos if it's of any benefit to people, or at least to start a discussion. These videos are intended for educational purposes only. They are also intended for giving my real life kind of explanation of what's happening in the industry, my real life struggles in the industry, my real life wins in the industry. There's a lot of videos on the channel. You guys can check it out. Yes, I also do really good prices for surety bonds for people that are actually seriously interested in surety bonds, or the renewals for freight brokers. And I also do some, again, for people that need it. I'm assuming if you're watching this video, mostly you're good, but I do dispatch training and also freight brokerage training for those that are interested. You can always reach me. Details will be in the details description of this video. But again, for the most part, I've been away for a while because I've just put my head down and trying to find a way to grow the business accordingly with the agents that we have across North America and respectively the trucks that we're running in and out of Canada and inside of Canada as well. And of course, building the customer base and the carrier base respectively. So with that being said, thank you very much. If you found this video insightful, it does really help. It costs you absolutely nothing to hit the like button. Also, leave a comment if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or feedback, or your opinions about things I've discussed in this video. Give it a shout down below in the comments, and we'll go from there. So, thank you again if you've made it this far. Cheers.